Ubisoft sued for making The Crew unplayable, Spyro the Dragon has come to Xbox Game Pass, and Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered isn't doing very well on PS5. All of that today on TripleJump Gaming News. Hello, Ben.
News.
I like the out of sync.
It's been a while since we've done news together, at least nearly 10 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So what a pleasure to be here talking about
much. We've got 10 years worth of news to cover today. We better get on.
Get comfortable, everyone. A reminder, as always, before we get into our first story, that you should pay close mind to our socials where we post gaming news throughout the day.
Yes.
At Team TripleJump on Facebook and Twitter /X. First up, Peter, what have we got?
We'll start with the Spyro news, shall we?
Yeah.
That's not my choice. We decided that ahead of time.
Was a little bit.
But I am a bit. It's favoritist.
Very excited.
So Spyro the Dragon has come to Xbox Game Pass. This was hinted about a few hours before it happened by the official Twitter and other socials accounts as well. Xbox Game Pass posted a little clip of a Spyro treasure chest, and Spyro replied and went, or something, and then like a few hours later.
Did the entire internet blow up and say, oh my god, new Spyro game?
I think
it's
most because it was from
happening.
at Xbox Game Pass. I think people were, tempered their expectations.
Fair enough.
Yes, so this game was released obviously some years ago, but since the acquisition of Activision by Xbox, it's now very easy for them to stick it on their service. And hey, you know what? They're adding a bit of value to that service as they continue to do.
Yeah.
They've done the same already with Crash, whatever the flip it was called, Insane Trilogy.
Yes.
Maybe there'll be more Activision products coming there as well.
I'm surprised it's taken this long, to be honest. I would have thought that this was one of the first Activision Blizzard published games that they would want to get on there. Appeal to the family market. Everybody loves Spyro.
Everyone.
The main hope here, though, Peter, obviously, is that there is a huge notable spike in players on Spyro, and whatever Spyro plans are bubbling in the background are maybe fast-tracked or the priority is raised.
Rumours are that Toys for Bob, of course, who are now independent but are working on something with Xbox, rumours are that it might be a Spyro sequel, so perhaps this was kind of timed intentionally, because Crash came to a Game Pass a while ago, and the likes of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which has also had a remaster by Activision, is yet to come to Game Pass. So maybe there's a reason these chose Spyro now, and perhaps we might hear some news from that in due course. I'm sure there's nothing anywhere near ready, but they might at least announce that, hey, we're working on it.
It would be nice to know that we're finally getting a new Spyro game. Spyro 4, it's about fire.
Indeed.
Right? That's what we want.
Yeah.
Next news story.
Yes?
I'm turning the page.
Me too, I've done it.
I'm struggling.
I'll start the sentence for you.
Go
Ubisoft is being
sued for making the crew unplayable.
Oh dear.
When it rains, it bloody storms. Is that the phrase?
Pours.
Storms. For poor Ubisoft, literally cannot catch a break. We'll give you all the details in a moment, obviously, but before I do that, I just want to say that I don't think that this lawsuit is going to be successful.
No.
But it's just another fire that Ubisoft are having to put out alongside everything else that's going on with them at the moment. Just a swirling mass of negative news and bad press for Ubisoft.
And it's also the second story we've done this week about a lawsuit happening in the gaming industry. So, people are throwing lawsuits at each other all over the place right now.
All the power to them. Quite frankly, I'd love to see this go ahead. This, of course, follows the news that in December 2023, The Crew 1 was delisted from digital storefronts, and that the online-only game would no longer be playable beginning this April. I assume this April is in being this past April.
Yes.
2024.
Yeah, they said after almost a decade of support, we'll be decommissioning The Crew 1 on March 31st, 2024. We understand this may be disappointing for players still enjoying the game, but it's necessary due to upcoming server infrastructure and licensing constraints.
As spotted by Polygon, 2 impacted players have launched a proposed class action lawsuit accusing Ubisoft of violating California consumer protection laws. They claimed it duped consumers by telling them they were buying a game when in fact all they were renting was a limited license to access a game that the defendants chose to maintain at their own, this is a phrase I've never seen before, noblesse oblige, perhaps.
Noblesse oblige.
Noblesse oblige is what it says. I assume from contact that means that they can take it away whenever they want.
Yeah, presumably. They also claim that the product's packaging falsely represented that the Crew itself was encoded onto physical discs that consumers could buy, or digital files consumers could pay to download. Whereas in fact, the metaphor they use is that what was downloaded or bought on a disc was more akin to a key they could use to open the gates of this remote server, which defendants could one day decide to fail to maintain. So, I mean, they're not wrong, but the question is whether anything has been done that is illegal, essentially, or that can be, that they can get damages for.
It's a dick move. I think we can all agree that it's not very consumer friendly. I mean, that's just, we've always known that's the nature of online-only games, is that these things just do disappear after a while. However, it certainly seems, at least as far as they assert, the Crew, never really something I've been interested in, or the Crew 2, or Steep, or any of the other persistent online worlds where you muck about together in a sandbox that Ubisoft have made. Not really for me, but certainly they seem to assert, the people putting forward this lawsuit, that there were single-player offline elements that could theoretically have been maintained and could still be maintained, that they are having stripped from them. The suit also notes that Ubisoft previously shut down online servers for old games while preserving their offline features, as was the case with Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed 3.
I think the best case scenario out of this, is that perhaps it sets a few more precedents, at least in terms of actually making clear what intentions are with these products. I don't think necessarily, I think you're right that they're not likely to sort of win any damages here or be able to force Ubisoft into making the game suddenly available offline. But perhaps going forward, some of these publishers might at least make it a bit more clear that, hey, this is definitely an online-only game, and maybe in some tiny small print they might even say, one day we might take it away. In fact, maybe that's already there. It might already be written somewhere. I think,
ultimately, this is how it has always been with online stuff. The consumers really do not have many rights at all.
No.
However, it would be nice if this lawsuit does anything. It would be nice to force publishers and developers to label their stuff appropriately. Just so people know where they stand. I don't think you're going to reach a point where they have to keep the servers on forever, or even preserve the offline stuff, but just some clarity would be important.
I mean, especially given that they themselves, Ubisoft, cite, licensing and infrastructure constraints. So if they can actually justify in court saying, look, it'd be nice to do that, but it's literally not even possible, then that might also be, it might help them in their defense. Was it in California that it either now is the law or will become the law that on digital storefronts they do have to say you are buying a license to play this game?
Oh, interesting.
That was in the news some time ago.
That was bubbling away. I can't remember. Where. Maybe California.
Yeah, that might also factor in. But
things might get a little clearer soon.
Yeah, see how it goes.
Hopefully.
Our final story of the day. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered isn't doing very well on PS5.
That is shocking news,
isn't it?
Herman Holst was like, Horizon everything. You take your Horizon pill now.
This comes after our previous news video this week where we talked about how Sony are going to commit to roughly one single-player game, maybe a minimum of, but one single-player game per year from 2025 onwards.
This is your single-player game this
year. I hope you enjoyed this one. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered is one of the least popular PlayStation 5 console exclusives released in 2024. And although Sony is offering a mere $10 upgrade path to Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered from the base game, it seems a lot of PS5 players are simply not interested.
Yeah, I mean, even anecdotally, we've got evidence and numbers, we'll tell you in a second. But even anecdotally, that does not shock me at all.
No.
This felt like a wildly unpopular decision when it was announced. Everyone was like, I don't want that. And even playing Devil's Avocado on our podcast, which releases every Saturday on our podcast channel and on Acast, you can go and listen to it where we talk about gaming news. We did play Devil's Avocado a bit and said, well, actually, there's a lot there. They've done a lot to it.
Yeah.
Still doesn't change the fact that it's a completely unnecessary thing that no one really asked for or needed. Very bizarre. Again, it's the whole Sony putting all of the eggs in the Horizon basket for I don't really know why.
Yeah.
Great games. They've got a following, but they've got the Lego game.
Yeah.
It's a strange candidate for a Lego game.
Especially for a debut Lego game.
For a debut Sony
Lego, yeah.
sort of exclusive focused Lego game. Aloy's like the only character in that entire game series that people actually know or care about.
Yeah.
Having played both of them. The others, I think the dad was called Rost, maybe. I can't remember the name of the others who were with her, and none of them were particular standouts in terms of personality. So that I'd be like, oh cool, I unlocked this guy in the Lego game. It's so weird.
I mean, I guess in a sense the same is true of quite a few of their games. It's not a Sony problem, but quite a few games of that scale is that, you have your hero and maybe a couple of supporting characters, but it's not the same as Star Wars typically is cited as one of the good Lego games. It has this huge cast of characters, and although some of them are more supporting characters than main characters, you can still go, oh, there's that creature, or there's this person, and kind of there's iconography there, I guess. Whereas
I think Uncharted would have been a great one.
It would have been a better one, but even then it has a limited cast. I think maybe what they should have done is done a kind of a Sony All-Stars Lego game where there are maybe different worlds. I guess it would have been a bit Astrobot-esque, but you could have had a whole cast then of there's Kratos, there's Nathan Drake, there's something like that. But interestingly, when this was announced and before it came out, people kind of drew comparisons with The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered as a game. It's like, another one of those. Sony are remastering something that does not need remastering. The source here for the fact that Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered isn't doing very well states that The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered reigns supreme on the list of most played PS5 console exclusives for 2024, which is really strange. So in a way, that's more damning for Horizon, that it's lost out to The Last of Us Part 2, which we also did not need.
So this data is taken from True Trophies, which I'll say right up front that True Trophies only has a sample size of 3.5 million PSN accounts, which is not a great deal compared to the roughly 116 million monthly active users on PlayStation platforms. So this is just a small sample size, still millions of people though, and I'd argue probably quite a hardcore group of folks as well if they're registered for this trophy tracking service. So it may not be reflective overall, but even so, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered currently ranks 10th in terms of weekly player count in the 13-strong list of PS5 console exclusive launched this year. Presumably 13th is Concord, maybe, if that's on there at all. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, saw 91.8% fewer PS5 players in its launch week compared to The Last of Us. Last of Us' remaster.
And during the same week, it failed to crack the list of the top 40 most popular PS5 and PS4 games. Sony has so far said nothing about this. They're probably not very happy. They've not had a great year, have they, on balance, Sony, overall, in terms of news and reputation. They've had a few little moments where Astrobot did save the world.
Astrobot saved everything.
But then Concord ruined everything.
It did. We don't talk about that.
No, we don't.
This is probably similar to The Last of Us, part of a larger strategy where, yes, I still think it's strange they're putting all of the eggs in the Horizon basket. However, they've got the Lego game coming out. They've got the flipping, what's it called, that anthology series that Aloy may or may not show up in at some point. Hidden level, secret level or something.
Love, Death and Robots and Video Games.
Yeah, exactly, that one. So interest, they may be banking on interest in Horizon, potentially seeing a bit of an uptick, so it makes sense to get everything up to par on PS5, similarly to the approach they took with The Last of Us, which clearly paid off. A lot of interest after the show. They've got the remake of Part 1, they've got the remaster of Part 2. It's there on PS5 ready for... I understand the reasoning, but when, taken or viewed within the context of we've had Concord this year, we've got a renewed focus on live service games. We're getting
not much else happening.
One single player game a year. It's like, what are you doing? Prioritize your investments and your workforce. You're making some bloody baffling decisions on reflection, even if, again, on a granular level, I sort of understand the approach, the reasoning.
Yeah,
It's
they're
silly.
trying to
Silly.
shoot the brand to the moon and just give it all the exposure and
Stop trying to make Horizon Zero Dawn a thing. It's already a thing.
a multimedia thing now. But yeah, we'll have to see how this goes over time, whether there's a change to this. I mean, I can't see it suddenly going up. I think it's probably peaked. So yeah, we'll have to see what Sony think about this, whether they say anything about it, and whether it actually has any effect on their strategy going forward. They're probably too far gone with everything they've announced so far, but if they had more Horizon plans on the horizon, they might now be sort of not quite out the window, but they might have to readdress those.
Let's just calm it down a little.
Just a little
You
bit.
can get series fatigue quite easily. Ask Guitar Hero, ask Tonky Hanks, and Prostrator.
Indeed.
Just chill, just calm down a bit. Thank you so much for tuning into the news today, everyone. Those are all our stories. We'll be back with you on Friday. Remember to tune into our podcast where we talk about such stories in more detail.
And weird news as well.
And weird news too, and also our socials at Team TripleJump, where you get daily news delivered right onto your feed or timeline. See you later, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.